Hello, so it is Monday, 22nd of May, and I'm just going to document the making of this bed in the garden. This is going to be a permaculture bed in the kind of German Mound style. So this is an area of really poor soil here, builder's rubble, as you can see, builder's plastic, lots of broken glass, very poor soil. I've dug out the weeds and what could pass as topsoil here. It's not very good, but it will do. There's almost no worm life in it at all. And what I'm going to do now is to start piling this up with woody prunings, and here's some we prepared earlier, and I'm just kind of clearing various areas around the garden. I'm going to pile up the woody prunings and then green manure on top, and then cover the whole thing back up with the topsoil and plant it up and mulch it. So that's the plan. Anyway, here we are at stage 1. There again. Right, as you can see, now finished filling up the bed with all kinds of woody prunings, including a quick trim of the hedge there. So all kinds of things in here. Some of this is old stuff that was from last autumn. Some of it is just fresh this morning. And so I've put the smaller stuff on top. Ideally, the plan is to build up your woody layer to about 18 inches, but as you can see I haven't gone that deep. But I'll be using a lot of other material on top of that in a minute, but the first thing to do is to squish it all down. You can see as well I've also put a little marker in there. That's because I'm going to at some point be planting a tree, and underneath there is where I did actually dig down and remove quite a lot of the rubble and glass and rubbish, so I know there's good deep soil under that spot. So the next thing is to put on some tough old boots and stomp it all down. Okay, so here we are, all stomped down. You can see how that's pretty much level with the ground. Next thing to go on is some alkanet. This is really good green manure. It grows really profusely in this garden, but at this time of year it starts to get a bit tired and attract a few whitefly. So it's good to chop it back and let the new flowers come. And it has really deep roots, so it brings up lots of nutrients. It's a really good green manure. So that's going to go on next. Hello again. Right, so we have filled everything up with the alkanet and left that for a couple of days to wilt down. As you can see, the next job was to cut down all the broccoli and brassicas that had gone to seed, and I've just chopped all that up, chucked all that in as well. I'm just going to give that a stomp, and then the next thing to go in is going to be the top of the compost heap from last year, so the sort of unrotted woody stuff that's left. So yes, stomping, and I'll be back in a minute. There we are. So as you can see, a lot of this stuff is not fully composted yet. This is all the stuff from sort of twiggy, woody bits and pieces. Oh, biggest slug in the world. This is sort of from the sides and the top of last year's compost heap, so it started to break down, but it's going to be a little while yet. And the reason for putting all that on there is because, as you can see, I do not have a huge amount of topsoil to go back over it, and I'm going to top off with probably some leaf mould, spent compost and other bits and pieces, just to kind of build up a bit of a soil level and a bit of fertility, because there's very poor soil. So that's it really. The next thing I'm going to do is put the topsoil back on, a bit of a mulch, and then we're ready for planting. There, lightly trodden topsoil back on, so I think you can see it's beginning to shape up now and look a bit more like a flower bed. So the next thing, before I start piling on loads of mulch, I am just going to make a bit of an edge for that between the bed and the lawn to stop everything from falling out and ending up on the lawn. I've got a lot of nice bits of stick that I've collected over the last few months. I'm going to saw those off and make like a little palisade edge and then we can start piling on the final layer. Okay, ta-da, there we are. Still a work in progress, obviously, and I've just very roughly dug a little trench along the side there and hammered those in. Look at my trusty arcs, as you can see that they are a bit wonky, but they'll settle down. And I think they make a really nice, good free edging for something that's going to be alongside a lawn or a bit of grass, because you can strim or mow right up to it. So there we go, our bed is ready for mulching and planting. It's a very hot day today, so I think that's going to wait until this evening, or maybe even first thing in the morning. I will be back to show you how it looks. Right, so here we are, and it's finished 1 week later. So this is really the first bed you see as you come into the garden, and it was such an eyesore before. And now, ta-da! We've got a nice mixed planting here, starting with a fruit tree. I think maybe an apple, possibly a pear. I bought it for £1 from a well-known supermarket chain. It had lost its label and was in the kind of consigned to the bin pile, so I got it for £1. And then this beautiful shrubby thing, which is very new to me, came from a lovely little nursery nearby. It's called Spelsia, Hopley Lavender. There we are. Don't know what it's going to do, but we'll see. Most of the rest, we've got another shrub in here. This is Russian sage there, growing from an offset. Most of the rest is all divisions from other parts of the garden. So I've got some euphorbia polychroma, some lovely crocosmias there, a little piece of oregano country cream, various strawberries, a little bit of geranium. That's geranium phaeum there, morning widow. A little honeysuckle in there, which I'm hoping will scrabble up and join the beautiful tayberry. It's doing so well. I've got some ophiopogum there and a little violet, and then I've just filled in, oh, and there's an alchemilla mollis here, and then some foxgloves, and I've just filled in all the rest with annuals that have self-seeded from around the garden. So there's forget-me-nots, calendulas, poppies, nigella, all sorts of things, which I hope in time will just self-seed. A bit of nasturtium there at the back as well. And everything's been topped off with a mixture of quite a well-rotted compost, as you can see, and some old spent potting compost. And then just at the back there, because there's a bit of a dip down, I've backfilled that with some not very well-rotted leaf mould, but it will rot down eventually. It will just keep the weeds at bay coming through from next doors. So there we go, a little bit, little and often every day, and there we have a beautiful new permaculture bed.